I'm Megan Mitchell. This is my co-host, John Morrison, and you, are listening to the True North Racing Podcast.
Ain't no hesitation, got me going crazy. Keep it moving, I'm tuned in to True North Racing Podcast that you need if you got the need for speed. John Morrison interviewing guests in the industry. Hey, short track, stock car racing, gotta get it hype. Saturday night under the lights, hear the engine rooming by. Smell the gas and feel the vibe, going into overdrive. Drop the flag, then the car zooming by. Hey, True North Racing, let's go.
This week's video of the True North Racing Podcast is presented by Vision 20 Studios. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new week of the True North Racing Podcast. I'm your host, John Morrison. This week, as you guys can see and or hear, we are riding solo this week. Megan, unfortunately, came down with a terrible migraine, hasn't been feeling well all day. So she is taking the night off. Megan, go rest, relax. Hopefully you feel a lot better. Welcome to episode 89, guys. This week we have joining us Jennifer Hatch and Kenny McNicol. I'm excited for this because we're gonna be talking about how they got involved in racing. Jennifer raced with the CVNs for a little bit. We're gonna talk about their deal with the Great Lakes Legend Series. Jennifer running for 30 seasons this year. This is her 30th. Man, there's so much to talk about. I'm excited for this one. So let's get into our pace lap, I guess you could say. Well, what happened earlier today when was unfortunately should have taken as a little bit of a pace lap on my end. Unfortunately, myself, Jacqueline, and my two kids were involved in an accident, and we're fine. It was my fault. Ended up hitting the car in front of me. Everyone just kind of checked up, and just I was a little too close. And yeah, so unfortunately, we're all fine. The car is fixable. Just need a hood, which I'm gonna talk about right now real quick. So I put out on Facebook looking to see if anyone had a hood or right tail or red headlight available for a 2010 Cobalt. And I figured, because we know a lot of the racers, someone had to have something laying around, and thankfully they did. I got to give a big shout out to Nick and Jordan from Flat Broke Racing. They offered up a headlight for us. Wade Thorne also offered up one. We thank you guys so much. Honestly, man, it's appreciative from our end. So we're gonna not hopefully, Jacqueline's car will be back on the road this week. I hadn't seen my kids in 2 weekends. I know we're gonna fast track through here. So I hadn't seen my kids in 2 weekends because I wanted to make sure for Motorama that everything and everyone was, with me, it's the deal of I want to make sure that Motorama, that there's enough content, and that's the one thing I feel like I missed out on this year. I didn't get a whole lot of content in Motorama, which, by the way, we're going to discuss in a couple minutes. So yeah, it was a great weekend with the kids. It was great seeing them again. My youngest on Friday damn near jumped into my arms, and that was man, don't you just love it when your kids just run into your arms for no reason? It's truly a blessed feeling for being a father. So since the last time we talked to you guys, it was just before Motorama, and the one rule I got told was in place was no more diecasts. I told her that's fine. I got no diecast till after the wedding. But there was two that still had to come in. That being the 36 car of Gary Elliott and this one right here. I've been waiting for this one for a while now. and I'm thankful I finally got this. It is of Brandon Feeney's number 38 from the 2022 season. I'm absolutely in love with this thing. I think it's badass. Um, the only thing missing on it is my logo, and that's just strictly because I never got Brandon his stickers last year. Unfortunately, that was the downfall of it. But it's great to see Lift the Visor up there, stickers and scuffs is on it. It's so cool to see a diecast, and and Brandon signed it for me, which is awesome. But the funny thing about that, well, there's so many. I got so many funny things that are going on about it. Um, you know, Brandon's a character. I wish he was on here tonight because we could have been talking about our diecast collections. But unfortunately, like I said, he last I knew he was at a Oshawa Generals game. So hopefully the Generals won, unless they're playing the Storm. Then I hope they lose. But on the JoMo Media side, we're gonna continue here. I know it's I'm sorry guys if this is sound a little different than it usually does. Moving forward here on the JoMo Media side, we do have t-shirts getting available. We're gonna have them in small, medium, large, extra large, 2XL, and 3, 4, and 5XL upon request. Look at the thing. Look at it. This is our driver shirt right here. Designed by Rachel over at Graph Inc. Design Studio. Done amazing work for us. We love it. She's been that's her shirt. She was I forgot. So Jacqueline, with Jacqueline and myself getting married next year, and she has Megan and Rachel in her wedding party, and I completely forgot that she was gonna see her. So Rachel, I'm sorry that you didn't get your shirt. It is still sitting right there as it has sat since I got it. Hopefully soon we'll get together and check it and give it out. I did one cool thing about Motorama. So let's get into Motorama. I was there for Saturday, Sunday, hanging out with the CVMs, trying to garner some content. Unfortunately, I got to see a lot of people on Friday or on Saturday and Sunday, and I ended up not making a whole lot of content like I wanted to. And it took me a second to realize I'm like, I haven't seen a lot of these guys since September of 2022. That is almost 6 months ago. That's about 6 months ago. So at one point, I actually put down the GoPro, the camera, and I just talked to a lot of guys, gals, drivers, and competitors, and people from the club, and sometimes I forget what I'm doing this. I'm gonna be honest. There's times where stuff gets blurry for me, and then Motorama really brought back exactly what I'm trying to accomplish here. It is like I had conversations with Morgan Robson Jr. and Madison Teen Camp, Sarah Gianni and Nick Tooley, right across the aisleway from the CVMs was Mike Thompson and Michael Kenny. Saw Cole Ecker, finally got to meet him, met Jordan Fiddler from Flatbroke Racing, got to see Chris Lawrence and Miss Penny and so many other people. Michael Wallace from the Wide World of Motorsports, met him. James Jordan as well, and at another point in the show. It was great meeting these guys and being introduced to guys, and I'm hoping this year is going to be a great year for a lot of us to progress in what we're doing, because there's so many good things that are happening in motorsports. I just saw today that Sunset Speedway is getting track tuned, which is going to be awesome. Now another track, so like if I'm at Flamborough, I'm going to listen to Sunset if I want to. It's just so many great things are happening in the sport now, and it's really good to see. It's so weird. I'm gonna be honest, guys. This is so weird being back by myself again. I'm gonna cut this off a little shorter than how usually it's about 15. It's been about We're gonna cut this off here. We're gonna bring in this week's guest. I think it's time. I think I covered everything I need to. Let's get in this week's guest of Jennifer Hatch and Kenny McNicol. All right, guys, joining us tonight is Jennifer Hatch and Kenny McNicol. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
How's your off season been going?
Busy.
Busy with work, busy with kids, grandkids. Kenny's always wheeling and dealing something with race cars. Today was Sunday, and we had at least 4 people show up.
Yeah.
We at least 4 people show up for parts today, 2 people yesterday. It's always somebody coming and going for sure.
Oh, wow. So, you know what? I always say to a lot of people off of this stuff is that in racing, there's never an off season. It's just days you don't go to the track.
Yeah, true.
Absolutely.
True.
Because
We did a little bit of off season where we
Not much.
because even once that checkered flag is fall, you may take a month off, kind of relax, go on trips, whatever you guys want to do. And then right back after that, it's back to the grind, working on it 1-2 nights a week just to get ready for the season. In 2023, you guys had both your cars at Motorama for the 2023 season.
Yeah,
You were with Jennifer. You were with the Sawville Speedway booth.
I was.
And Kenny, you were with the Great Lake Legend Series, correct?
Yes.
So, first of all, thank you for being as media for Sawville Speedways. Thank you for being a part of the Sawville Speedway booth. I feel very terrible that I didn't get a chance to stop and talk to you, as I got to talk to everyone else who was involved there.
It was a busy weekend.
Yeah.
It was a busy weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Saturday was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I hear that there was over 100,000 people there or something.
No,
like that.
I think it's 5,000 people came through on Saturday or something like that.
5,000.
15,000. I don't know. It was a lot.
Who knows?
There were at one point. I gotta build that video still. I did a time lapse of the entire floor plan from the start to the back, and I haven't put it together yet. I need to, but that was a long walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't try to attempt that at like 11 o'clock in the morning.
No.
Yeah, it was like shoulder to shoulder through the whole, like hall 1, hall 2, hall 3. It was packed. I don't know how many people actually the place holds, but like Saturday was so amazing to see everybody. Not only the amount of cars that came back out after we've kind of been on hold, but like the amount of people that supported the whole show. It was just fantastic to see.
Absolutely. And so, like, for you guys, what was it like being a part of the show in the sense that both your cars were in the show?
Well, we had a blast because we got to, grab a hotel with, 50 of our closest friends, and have dinner with them and hang out with everybody. And
It was just a good time all around.
yeah, it really was. And then for us, like for me to be at Sawville Speedway's booth, that was a lot of fun. I got to spend some time with some Sawville folks, obviously, but at the same time, I think Big Booty's the perfect spokesperson for Sawville Speedway, because if I take her to some of the other tracks as a real true bone stock, she tends to get beat up a little bit in speed because she's a bone stock.
Yeah.
And but to go to Sawville and do a few little things and be very competitive, pick up some checkers and stuff like that, that shows you what that combined 4 class can really be. So I hope it encourages some folks, maybe from Delaware and Barney on off nights, like have your home track for sure. But on off nights, go up there and spend a Saturday night up there and run in the combined 4s, and you will be pleasantly surprised at how well you can perform up there.
See, I'm glad you talk about Sawville Speedway like that, because it brings a smile to my face. Because of obviously being the media guy, it brings joy to when people are talking positive about motorsports in general. But to talk about Sawville Speedway and the combined 4 division is such it across the racing community is such a hit and miss opportunity. Depends on who you talk to. Some people absolutely love what they're doing. Some people absolutely hate what they're doing. I'm in the fence because as a fan, I went last year for the Dash for Cash midweek race that they had in July. And sitting up in the stands, you couldn't tell what if obviously if you knew what you were looking for, like myself, you'd be able to tell, oh, that whatever, right? Oh, that person broke out, but what I saw with my own two eyes was a very competitive race from from the field to the end of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, we didn't make it to that race, unfortunately, because like I said, Big Booty did great all year. We were always in the top 3 or 5, and we picked up some wins, and she was very competitive up there. It's a fun track.
It's surprising you say it's hit and miss, because everybody that says, "Oh, I don't like it, I do like it," just about every one of those people have tried it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way to try it.
Yeah.
You know, and
whether they like it or not.
Exactly. You know what? I was even skeptical when it came out. I was like, oh, you know, that's a weird concept. It may not take off. But after watching it in person, you can't tell the difference. No. I saw a lot better of a race than some other races you see at different tracks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I really liked it, and like I said, the Big Booty is the car that proved that it is a great place to take your car and run it and see how competitive you can be up there.
So for you guys combined, how long have you guys been racing?
Combined. Over 60 years.
Over 60.
Because this year you're celebrating your 30th year behind the year. Is that correct, Jennifer?
Yeah. So I started in 1993, and you were.
I think I'm 31 years this year.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so going all the way back, because now I'm thinking about it, I was 1 year old in 93.
So yeah, my daughter wasn't even born. Yeah.
So how did you guys get involved in racing?
We both grew up at the racetracks.
Yeah.
So my dad raced from way before I was born, and your dad raced before you were born.
Yeah, my dad started when he was 13.
Yeah, and my dad started later than that, but my dad's 78, still racing, but he's switched over to drag racing there probably 10 years ago. Okay. So yeah, long. I was there when I was born in March, and I was there in June, so 3 months old. Probably you the same.
I was there born in July, so
yeah, you were born and went to the racetrack.
That Friday night, Saturday.
I was about to say you were there that first couple days out. You were already smelling race fumes.
Yeah,
that's right.
So for you guys to get behind the wheel of the car, what was your first rides, and how did the deals come about to get you guys behind the wheel?
Mine was just a street stock car at Sauble is where I started. It was an old.
You kind of grew up at Sauble.
Yeah, I grew up at Sauble. It was an old, Barney and Sauble. But yeah, I started racing at Sauble when I think it was 13, something like that. Anyways, and Dad raced, my brother raced, my mom raced, so it was inevitable. It was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
And I was more. We built a car in high school for an ex-boyfriend, actually, believe it or not, and went to the track, and I ended up in the car somehow, and the rest is history. And that had nothing to do with my dad for quite a few years. And then my dad kind of came back on board. And then me and my dad raced together for quite some time. Not against each other, but he owned my car and such like that. And then I bought a hobby car. Yeah, it was years and years that me and my dad kind of hung out together doing some racing things. And then I carried on and did some other late model stuff and etc. with some other folks.
He still comes out and watches a race whenever
he does, yeah.
Whenever he can. My dad, he tows the cars to the track for the kids sometimes. So
yeah, they're both still very involved in our racing.
He's there if we're racing, he's there.
Yeah,
and even Jenny's dad.
Yeah, my dad, if he's not racing, which is pretty cool because at 78 he's still racing.
Absolutely.
If he's off for the weekend, he'll show up at Flamborough or Varney or Sauble. He'll stagger in at some point.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you guys still have, your parents come out to the races and supporting you guys. I do want to touch on that a little bit because of, again, I'm going to throw, as much as this is, JoMo Media Promotions production here, I wear multiple hats throughout a year, and one of them being Sauble and the other being the Canadian Vintage Modifieds hat. As you can see, I got both of them sitting right there. My first contact with you was actually about the countdown for the, you had sent over a couple more pictures that we could use it for the countdown towards the beginning of the season for the CVMs.
Yeah.
I would like to discuss that a little bit. How did you get involved in the hobby clubs, and what was your career like with that division?
So that actually, all my stories are a little bit odd, I'm sure, but so I was a supporter of the Fergus Truck Show, and with that, Lucas Oil was there with Don Baker, who ran Lucas Oil for a long time, and I met him there, and we were just chatting, and we were raising money for our kids' nursery school or something. Anyways, and just chatting away with him, and he knew my history of racing, like street stocks and super stocks and challengers and et cetera. And I was out of racing because I had just had one of my kids. They were really tiny. I think it was Zach. So because he was born in 2002, and this was in 2003. And he said, if you could ever go back racing again, what would you like to race? And I said, I'd like to follow my dad's footsteps and go to the hobby cars, obviously classic hobby cars, right?
Yep.
And he said, okay, well, call me on Monday. So I did. And he literally wrote me a check, and we went and bought everything we needed to go hobby car racing, vintage modified racing. And then he ended up coming on board as the primary sponsor for Canadian Vintage Modified. So he came on board for that. And then we also together, we also built the VIP tower at Flamborough Speedway. He got on board with that. So yeah, it was a really great run. I think I was with them for about 8 or 9 years before Don got sick and then passed away. So yeah, and then we went late model racing with them as well. So after I was done, because I broke my arm in 18 places. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, wow.
It's here. Took the hand off my arm. That was in my hobby car. I did get back into it the following year. It just wasn't the same for me. So I went back fendered. And so he said, well, what do you want to do next? And I ended up into a late model with Don Baker and Lucas Oil.
So where did you run the late model out of?
Mostly Flamborough. Did take it to Varney for a season. I guess it was at like a limited late or whatever. Limited late. And then I went late model racing for quite a few years up at Sauble. Actually, I was there with Jason Legg with one of his cars. I was there with Denny Snyder for for 1.5 seasons. So anyways, yeah, we had fun.
So so hold on here, because now this just triggered my mind here.
Yeah.
Because I started going to Flamborough in 2007, full time, like not full time, but at least going more often. When did you get behind the wheel of the late model? Because now this is confusing me, because I don't remember ever hearing your name when I went. So I'm just curious.
Yes.
Prior to that.
Yeah.
I was running late model there in like 99, 02 or something.
Well, I had the hobby car of 04, 05. So it had to be 06, 07. I had 3 different ones. The one I ran up at Varney was blue with pink. The one I ran at Flamborough was red with yellow, and it had unicorn truck wash on it, and Lucas Oil. And then I had a white one, and then Jason Legg's was a blue one. Yeah, we had a lot of them.
Now I'm gonna have to go back through, see if I can find any pictures of that.
I have pictures of all of them.
If you can send me over a couple, that would be fantastic to see if it could trigger my mind. Because my foray into Flamborough Speedway is a lot like when I first started going back as more of a teenager, was watching David Elliott.
Yes.
And the Elliots. Because my stepfather is Ed Askin, who crew chief for David for many years.
Way. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that's how Ed was my neighbor at one point.
Okay.
So that's how my foray into late models into Flamborough Speedway really came more about. I have memories of Flamborough when I was a lot younger, but don't ask me. I can't remember anything about what I saw, except for I swear it was like an asphalt sprint car. I don't even remember the guy we were there watching. I don't remember anything about the division. All I know is we went to Flamborough, we went to Barrie, and I think we went to Sunset at one point. That's all I can remember.
Barrie was my favorite track. We always took my street stock. We always took my street stock up there, and I always did really good up at Barrie. I loved Barrie. No, Flamborough and late models wasn't really my thing, and we didn't really know what we were doing, quite honestly. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, my dad raced hobby cars and street stocks for years, and then we end up buying all these late models and not really knowing what we were doing. I'm gonna say now I'd have a better chance with Kenny.
Not like this. I don't know him yet.
Well, my super stock that he built, like, we went right out of the box. It was super, super fast. And honestly, I didn't know if I was ready or whatever, but at the same time, I didn't want to see it all smashed up like his car. And I ended up selling it and making some good money while we still could. I was like, so never really got a full shot at that.
So over to you, Kenny. You've raced how many different divisions have you raced in your 30 years?
I have no idea.
You've raced anything you can get into, eh?
Anything I can get into, I've raced. We raced street stock, super street, obviously legend cars. I had, which back then now is like, it'd be like a pro late. Now we race at Hull in New York, and then raced at Flamborough for a while. That's good. You
took a little bit of time off too when Haley was born.
Yeah, took a few years off when Haley was born. I've ran sprint cars, like the 440 Outlaw sprints. Jumped in one of them one weekend. Pretty much anything I can climb into. I've been in mini trucks and
things he couldn't even fit into. He fit into
anything I can fit into, and even some things I can't fit into. I've been in.
So true.
That's awesome. So obviously, between the both of you guys have raced in plentiful amount of classes and divisions. For Kenny right now, what's been the highlight for one of your season? What's been like how do I put it here? What's been like the best season you've ever had behind the wheel of a stock car?
I've had a lot of them.
I've had a lot of great moments and a lot of great times. I loved that we went down to Delaware 3 times in a row. We won on the Great Canadian Weekend down there. Won 3 years in a row with my super stock, and that's kind of my baby. So I still have it. It's sitting in storage right now. Will it ever come back out? You never know.
A lot of people that.
A lot of people would like to see it come back out. A lot of people wouldn't like to see it come back out.
You're gonna have that itch one day. You're like, let's just take this out for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Well, we
that happens to me all the time.
After it was completely destroyed at Flamborough Speedway, it sat in the trailer for almost 2 years.
No,
a year and a bit.
About a year.
Yeah. And then when Jacasa was gonna have that big race, like literally we rebuilt it in a week. And we didn't tell anybody. We just went into the garage for a whole week and spent a whole week rebuilding it, and showed up at the racetrack, and it was badass fast, actually.
Yeah,
it was on rails. But that car has once again met its demise and is in pieces for right now.
Yeah.
So let's dive into that one a little bit. Actually, what was the accident that caused it to essentially sit for a year and a bit? What happens?
Well, the one at Flamborough, we just got somebody blew a motor, and then 3 of us ended up piled up in the corner, and then another car just came in out of nowhere and threw the oil and ended up on top of me. And it actually bent part of the halo in the car and everything. So
you almost died.
Yeah, I had some hefty marks in the helmet from their back bumper and stuff that was sitting in the driver's.
Literally.
The last one was at Delaware. It was an unfortunate accident that
nobody be impatient.
Yeah, just veteran drivers that should have been patient that were not patient with the rookie drivers.
And took some rookies out in front of the whole field. That evening, without saying much more, that evening ended up with us having a suspension.
Yeah,
Delaware.
It happens.
That's enough said.
You know what? We've been on the other end of probations at Flamborough Speedway. Never suspensions, but we've been on the other end of probations at Flamborough Speedway. So I can only imagine what you guys had to do to get suspended.
Well, we had both suspension and probation.
Yeah, we got
for a year.
both.
That's
We got suspended and then put on probation for the following year too.
Yeah.
oh
had to be here
Jesus.
For a long time.
That's
But-
usually the case, is it not? Is that, you know, when you racers, I don't know what it is about y'all, but like when you guys get hot headed,
It escalates quickly.
He's not named Spicy Mexican for no reason.
hold up. Oh, I didn't even heard the nickname before. What? Spicy Mexican.
Oh, you haven't heard
Couple
that?
of them.
Oh, yeah.
I've never heard that name before. How did you get that nickname?
Because he looks Mexican for some reason, and he's definitely spicy. And we got him spicy Mexican plates for his truck, which is hilarious because he got a new truck, so he gave his dad his old truck, and so now his dad's driving around with spicy Mexican plates. We don't even want to change because it's just so funny.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
So yeah, so Ken Sr. drives around with spicy Mexican plates, but so he was dubbed spicy Mexican because of his attitude a little bit, and then also on his car he is Mr. Excitement, because I'm sure you've watched him in his legend car, etc., or in his super stock. But you know, I could be following him in the legend car, going, no room, and he's how did he, like, he made room. I don't even know how he made room, but he made room. So you can watch back pretty much any race, and there's always one or two moves that are suspiciously lucky that he made it.
Skill, not luck.
Oh, yes. Skill.
What does Harry say from Days of Thunder? He's got the tires staggered perfectly.
Yeah, perfectly matched set of tires.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just going through my head all the time.
That is usually what's going on.
Yeah, he's very intense once that helmet goes on and he gets going. So
You know what? That's all of them. That's every single race. I'm sure you get the same way too.
no, I'm like doo. The one time at Flamborough, we were coming around and I was keeping up to the back of the pack and I was doing really good. But then Kenny was like in this really extreme good battle at the front. So
Yeah.
I slowed down so I could watch the battle on the front stretch. And we come in and he's like, why were you so much slower in the second heat? Like, I don't understand. The first heat you did so great. Like, is there something wrong with the car or whatever? I was like, no, that was such an intense race and I was trying to watch it while I was still just running around the back trying to watch the front. And he's like, oh my God. So no.
Oh my goodness.
The
You know what?
excitement was front, not at the back.
You know what though? That's I like hearing that though, because sometimes it's, you know, Megan and I have been talking about that on the show, because this year she's gonna be racing against her sister and her brother. So we had this conversation a few weeks ago about how is she gonna react on track where her family's running? Is she gonna run? You know, if she sees Chase, you know, kind of doing the same thing, like what you said, if she sees Chase running very well up front, is she going to be the one sticking back? She's like, oh, that's a really good battle. Let's see what happens. Or is she going to be trying to knock her out, right?
I can tell you without any doubt it happens, because I wanted to see. And so I've decided, like, I want to run a few legend races this year, and there's going to be a car. Well, you can speak to that, but there's going to be a car available that if I'm not running it,
Yeah, it'll be up for rent every weekend.
we're going to rent it out. So, because quite honestly, I want to watch Haley and Zach race too. And you can't, like, you just can't watch your fiance and your stepdaughter and your son racing while you're in the same race. It just doesn't work. And I really want to watch them race. And so I'm going to take Big Booty to some events and then not really do a lot of legend racing. I'll go out just for fun here and there, especially the races that I want to go to. But other than that, I think that car will be up for rent. So if anybody wants to rent a car, hit us up, send us a message, and we'll get you on the list.
Mm-hmm.
See, now if only if I had a fire suit.
I'm sure we can find fires.
Hey, I have loved the legend cars since the first time I ever went to when it was Performance World as you know, at the International Center. One, I can't remember who it was. but one of the guys let me get into his car, and it was funny because I was able to get in, but getting out was a little bit of another story.
Yeah. People say
And
that all the time. Like, oh, can I sit in it? Yeah, sure, get in. Help me get out of it. It's harder than
it took me a little longer. I was like, how the do you get out of this thing?
yeah.
And like, I was surprisingly, I was a lot smaller than I was now. So
Weren't
when
we
I saw
all?
it,
Yeah.
considering that was about 12 years ago, well, that was about 15 years ago now. Jesus. I hate thinking it's only like been a few years, and then, you know, you
Yeah.
start thinking about that. So actually, that's going to bring me to the next part of the show here is the Great Lake Legends series. How did you guys get involved in that, and how have you guys been enjoying this, running that division or running the series?
Absolute best group of people we have ever partnered up with or whatever, eh? Like,
Yeah, they're
just so
definitely just-
fantastic.
Everybody helps everybody. It's and just it's a good time usually.
Like Dan Russ, Team Dan Russ. So Dan Russ Motorsports and his family, and Rob and Terry Indig and Josh, and then you got Blake, Outhouse, and Dean and Jackie, and like,
Just a good
oh my
group of
god,
people.
like they're like I could name off all the boys, but and all their wives, like just such a fantastic group. Nobody has ever been upset with anybody. Like nobody's. It's just such a great bunch to race with, and it all happened by chance. Honestly, we live fairly close to Grand Bend Speedway, and Great Lakes Legends was going up there for one of their inaugural races, and they had a car that didn't have a driver. And Rob Indig.
No, it was Frank.
No, it was Frank Wall.
Quick.
Yeah, it was Frank Wall from Quick. Called Penny up and said, "Hey, like, are you doing anything tonight? We want
We need a driver.
we need a driver for one of our cars out at Grand Bend," which Kenny's been a champion out there a few times. He used to run the track there for a few years. So he was like, "Yeah, sure." So we went out, and like, honestly, they say that, but the rest is history. Like a championship later, he raced every car they had, like even a car that he didn't have. King.
Oh, John King.
King. I was gonna say Dan. So John King's car, he ran that car on the dirt and got a second. He'd never been on dirt before ever. So, yeah, like it just, and now we camp together, and yeah, it's just, we stayed in the hotel all together, and it's just a really good bunch of people. Too bad they're so
good.
Yeah, they're like 2.5 hours from us.
Yeah.
Because
So
they're out by London, I guess, or
Windsor.
we're
Windsor. Wow.
They're Windsor way. Yeah, Bell River actually. So
Okay. So for
Yeah.
so for that division again, like I only seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't seen the full picture kind of play out. Except for we did have Kenny on for our champions episode back there in, I think, October, November. So I'm trying to learn about this division because I feel like it's so new. So how does this deal kind of work out? Is it that Dan and the guys all build these cars? Is it you guys supply your own cars? How does this whole deal work for that series?
Anybody can run in it. Like anybody
Okay.
can, like we've had like Jaden Chapman came and ran with us.
Smoking Joe Adams
came and ran with us.
Bunch of guys,
Hudson Nagy ran with us.
Cole
McFadden came and ran with us. So it basically, it's just so that the west coast of Ontario guys had a place to race, because we don't want to drive to Peterborough every weekend. Like that's just too far for us.
Like even for those guys in Windsor, it's like a 8-hour drive to get to Peterborough. Also, yeah. So basically they were, and actually this year we're going over to Flat Rock, Michigan to race.
Nice.
So our trailer, like we have a big trailer. And our trailer is not big enough for that weekend because we have so many people that want to come with us for that weekend.
Well, and we're pairing up with the Michigan Legends, so there's going to be
so we
a dozen cars there. It's likely to be a pretty big weekend over there.
Yeah, and it's going to be really cool because we're going to race people that they haven't raced before, right? So
even on any given night, I think they're likely looking at anywhere from 15 to 20 cars now any given night. So
Yeah, and it's growing.
yeah, and
It's
like
not
Dan Russ's cars, they got a team of like I think it's like seven
Seven
cars or
cars.
something like that.
which one of them is Kenny's car.
Yeah.
Like Kenny runs for Dan.
Okay.
And then guys that are coming to run in the series, lots of guys.
Yeah.
I actually just sold a car today to another guy, so they're coming out. They're coming out. His daughter's getting into it. So
Yeah, it's gonna have quite a few females, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
This next little bit here, we're gonna see a whole heat race of just girls.
good
Nice.
chance.
Great Lakes Legends, yeah.
There's likely, I bet you, 4 to 6 girls this year.
And that's not
likely.
even counting me if I go out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I like seeing that. Like that's such a great, we see the 1, 2 in certain divisions, but like it's nice seeing like there's gonna be almost a whole heat race of them.
yeah.
And that's the one thing I'm gonna be honest, I love legend racing. I don't know what it is about the cars. There's just they have that old school hobby feel, but at least with like obviously with some of the newer technology that they got in them. And the one thing, okay, I talked about this before, and I feel like this is something that I feel like needs to happen. And because you guys run the legend cars, I think this is the perfect question for y'all. Do you think y'all could run the go-kart track at Flamborough?
In the Legends. That'd be interesting.
Likely.
We did
It's like-
run the
We ran the road course
we ran
at
the
Grand
road course
Bend.
at Grand Bend.
Quite a
That
bit
was
bigger,
a lot
but-
of fun.
Yeah.
It's definitely bigger.
It'd be awful tight to run it.
But
I think
maybe
once you guys spread out,
I'd definitely give it a go.
because this is the thing is I haven't seen an actual legend race because again, like you said, they run more or less Peterborough out east, or
Yeah.
Sauble, or where tracks where I don't usually end up. So
Yeah.
for me to actually see them come to Flamborough, I'm watching them like I think it was 2019 or 2018. I'm looking at them like I want those to run the road course, run that go kart track at Flamborough. I don't know what I just
yeah.
I don't want to. That's a hill I'm willing to die on to watch y'all race on that.
That would be fun.
Hey, if you can set it up, I'll definitely give it a shot.
And there'd be enough silly people that would come and do it as well.
That's what I'm thinking is like if kind of
We'll do it as a halftime show.
do it as like a test thing. Just like don't go full out or anything, but like just
Yeah, okay.
feel it out kind of thing. I know. Once you guys
Yeah,
get the helmet on,
helmet
pull those
on.
belts on.
Brain off. Yeah.
Don't go full out.
Yeah.
Said no racer ever.
Oh God.
We'll have to
No,
we'll have to part you guys like 5 car lengths apart.
Yeah. Time start like 30 seconds. 30 seconds. But no, we did run the road course at Grand Bend. That was a ton of fun. We raced that together. That was a ton of fun.
So I watched that. I watched the in car of that.
Yes.
I can't remember whose in car was, but I watched it. And man, there's a lot of room there, and I feel like it looked really good. Like I don't know. You could tell that.
Yeah, it was rough. Like at the end of the straightaway, when you make your lap, there's a big pothole there, so you really tried to not hit that. And the one time I came around out of like the chicanes or whatever, and I just start up on the straightaway, and I look in my river mirror, and there's Kenny, like just blasting in behind me, and I'm like, oh God, right? Like, don't mess up. Then all of a sudden, I look up, and Kenny's nowhere to be found, and I come back around, and he's out in the grass of the car.
She made the left turn. I just turned right. No, blew the drive shaft.
Oh yeah, the drive shaft right out of it.
Oh wow.
Coming down behind me, and I was like, so I'm like, where did he go? Right? Like I was like, so anyways, and then I come back around, there's Kenny just limping back or whatever, but
waiting for the tow truck.
yeah. So but
that's good. So for Kenny, you said it yourself, or it was told that you just ran your first race on dirt with that division last year, correct?
Yes.
Was that your first time ever on dirt, or was just that?
Yes.
Yeah.
How did that go for you?
Obviously,
finishing second is fantastic.
To a dirt track driver.
Yeah, it was, and it was actually towards the end of the race. I was starting to get onto it quite a bit, and it was actually catching them towards the end of the race.
Just ran out of laps.
We needed more longer race. That's all.
And then you went down to. Then we went to Humberstone.
Oh, I was in 3 different cars. That
Yeah,
day.
you were in 3 different cars.
jeez.
And that was the night that I.
3 different legend cars.
Yeah. And that was the night that I took on my very first announcing job.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have an announcer for us because they didn't know anything about us or whatever. So they assumed we had an announcer. So Blake comes running over. He's like, Jen, what do you think about announcing tonight? Because you know everybody, you know what they do, you know all about the cars. Like, do you think you can announce for me tonight? I'm like, sure. So I ended up doing the whole announcing of all the races.
Yeah.
And it was the night that we had the celebrity race.
Yes.
So I was
different cars.
That's why you were in different cars. But then I was like, oh my God. So then I was trying not to mess anybody's names up. And it was a fun night. It was a great weekend, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Every weekend's a great weekend.
You never have a bad weekend at the racetrack unless you come home with your car in multiple pieces.
And even then we've come home like that. Zach
You-
has come home in multiple pieces. I've come home in multiple pieces.
We all have.
So
You just drink the pain away at the track.
yeah. We got mine at least put back together enough that I could get it in the trailer, so that's all that mattered. No, and then back to Motorama. Oh my gosh, this is a funny story I wanted to tell you. So we go to Motorama for the championship night or whatever, right?
Yep.
Kenny's like the 20th, 25th, I don't know, person to go across the stage. And so everybody goes up, everybody's getting the cordial. Yay. Okay. And then some people brought their whole family, including cousins.
Yep.
So they were getting yay, right? And then Kenny goes up, and I'm sitting in the third row, and Kenny comes up, and they start the crowd starts booing him. And I'm like, oh my God, like what? So I'm like, holy smokes. And then we turn around, and it's all of our friends standing in the back, and like Jim Nagy's, you cheater, Kenny. And somebody telling Colton Everingham, I think, said, you suck. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, with friends like you, nobody needs enemies. But it's pretty funny because the poor Fast Eddie guy that was giving him his plaque and everything, he had no idea. So he actually thought Kenny was actually.
You're not very well liked, are you?
Oh my God, it was pretty funny. Oh, and Reese and Carrie were there, and Reese is like, stop booing him, guys. And she's like, it's their friends. And Carrie's like, Reese, it's their friends. And she's like, oh, okay. She was like right defensive for Kenny. She's like, stop booing him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, if you can't have fun with it, there's no sense doing it.
Yeah, it was very funny.
That's exactly it. If your friends won't call you out essentially, or just mess with you while you're going up on stage, are they really your friends?
Yeah. Oh, they did. They definitely.
They know I do it. They know I do it for them too. So
That's exactly it. It's gonna go both ways.
Yeah. So now we're just gearing up for this year. And Big Booty won best appearing, or I guess they don't call it best appearing anymore. They call it outstanding bone stock. Yes. So that was nice for her to bring home, because we put a lot of time and a lot of effort into making her that pretty.
I mean, it was an outstanding bone stock, that is for certain. I walked by it a few times. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you get those rub rails that 2-Speed Motorsports has, I mean,
he did that. He came by and said we need a pair.
I walked by numerous times, and again, it was one of those things. I was walking by numerous times, either didn't see you or you were already talking with someone else. I was like, okay, I'll come back in a few minutes, and
yeah, I know.
It just never worked. But
a couple times, and just somebody would have just asked me a question or something, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss him again.
But the detail on your car was absolutely like I'm like, if this doesn't win anything, I'm gonna find the guy that was going around checking them, and I'm gonna beat him up, because first of all, inside the 17,
yes,
you have 30 years.
Yeah, that was Kenny and Jason Wilds surprised me. Jason Wilds at Wilds Printing knocked it out of the park. Like, she is lovely. Like,
oh my God,
so pretty.
It is gonna stand out on that track each and every time, and you're gonna notice it.
Yeah. And I do have to give shout outs to Hales at MPH Designs too, because she is the Big Booty Judy girl. So she does all the Big Booty Judy stickers and all the diamonds. And to Kenny too, because like the interior, I don't know if you got to look inside Big Booty, but she's got she has a diamond gear shifter. She's got a fan, because once I turned 50, I said I deserve a fan for my hot flashes, which I'm having right now actually. So at least I can turn on my fan, and we've got all this under lighting, and we've got all the lighting on the interior of it as well. So like we have like a NOS toggle and a fan toggle and everything for all of our stuff. So she's not only the outside, but we've done a really great job of the inside as well. She's a little showpiece. She's actually going to a Ford dealership, even though she's a Chevy Cobalt.
I was gonna say, that's a weird combination right there.
Well, I said, you know what? Somebody said to me, "Wow, you must be really great at getting sponsorship money." And I was like, "Well, why is that?" And they said, "Because your Chevy Cobalt has a Ford dealership on it. It's more for the legend cars, but Big Booty got it combined into it." So actually, she's going into the showroom at the Ford dealership this Wednesday. I think we're moving it in. Yeah, because that's how pretty she is. She's going into a showroom at a Ford dealership, so that's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I will never ever disagree with at all is cars just getting out in public.
Yes.
Because to me in racing, I don't see enough of it. I feel I don't see enough of it. So when I hear people, you know, like yourself, who's going to put your car into a Ford dealership, it gets me super excited because now not only they're going to almost sell the car. Not sell it, but not sell it to someone else. But they're gonna sell the car on and
well, they're gonna sell
at the track.
Yeah, they're gonna sell racing, and I'll have the hero cards there, and I'll have a schedule there on where we're gonna be this year, and it just drives you know, people's interest in getting back to the racetrack. Like we talked about that today. Chapman's were over today, and we talked about it with them. Like back in the heyday, we used to take my daughter, like I have 2 kids, 2 girls, and then Zach, of course, so 3 girls. So we would take a whole school bus of ringette players down to Flamborough Speedway, and at intermission we would play a game of ringette on the front stretch. And it was to the point like I would have to get there early. Well, I'd get there early with my car anyways, and I would go over to the stands and I would mark off a section. So I knew that I had a section all together that all the kids and their parents that came on the school bus could sit. You wouldn't have to worry about that now. And that's so sad. Like it's so sad. I don't know why the people, Flamborough is one of the tracks that honestly in the good old days, you did have a hard time finding a seat. And also the fact that they can pull from so many great big communities within 30 minutes of them. Why it's not filling up, I don't know. And I really wish there was a way to change that, you know.
You know what? That it's kind of funny you mentioned that because just a couple weeks ago we had Kevin Small on. And I think we've talked about the exact same thing that they can pull from Kitchener, Brantford, Hamilton, Burlington, Oakville, like there's Guelph, there's such a big populated area.
Yeah.
And the only time I ever hear, to be fair, that's the only radio station I listen to. The only time I ever hear anything is from 94.7 when they talk about the traffic.
Yeah.
They talk about the traffic. It's like today's thing of the traffic is brought to you by Flamborough Speedway this Saturday night. Come check it. And they announce, to me, that does nothing.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. To me, that does nothing.
At least it's getting,
recognition. It is.
Like I always said, like, I don't know, whoever's in charge of Flamborough Speedway, call me. I got some great ideas.
Gary Calling, attention, Gary Calling.
I do, because I used to help out years ago, and this is going back like 2004, 2005, 2006. And with Lucas Oil, we did a thing where if you had postal code this, and this, you could get in the gate. One person could come in the gate for free. Well, they always brought somebody with them. They always ate hot dogs and hamburgers and whatever. And I think it helped for sure. So I don't know.
I think tracks are too afraid to give that free admission ticket away is the problem.
But in my opinion,
but they're not coming anyways.
Right, they're not coming anyways. So bring them. At least they'll bring food. They'll buy food. They'll maybe buy a souvenir or whatever. But also you might hook them, and then they might come back and buy a.
Honestly, I think one track that does do a great job is like JP up there at Peterborough. He'll offer
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, like JP knows what he's doing for sure.
He brings all those guys in, and then all of a sudden he hits them with the $20 night or whatever, right? The regular admission night.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and also it doesn't matter. So if they paid a toonie and they weren't coming anyways, but they had again like a hot dog or a sausage, whatever, they're at least you're making money on that stuff. So I don't know.
This is my favorite conversation to have because I have so many of these conversations with multiple different people from multiple different tracks, and we always say the same thing: is that it's even what I think it's Epic Raceway was Dan Bailey was discussing this a couple weeks ago. There, we all have great ideas. We all need to put them forward. I
Yeah.
got to reach out to Kevin Small to see if my idea is going to get through here because I thought of a really good one for the drivers, and it was to get everyone involved before the season starts. That way, there's no hard feelings. There's no nothing. But I think it'd be great is paint the track. So we all come in. If we can get a sponsorship from Sherwin-Williams or one of these paint companies, get all the drivers, their crews to come in, help us paint the track, paint the walls, paint the grandstands, give the place a facelift before the season starts. So when we go into that gate, we can all be proud to go to the track.
I love that.
I love it. I
could
feel we would have so many people come out.
I would
I feel
go
like
with the kids. And
It's
Kenny
funny
might
that
go, but-
there years ago, Brad Clark, when he ran Grand Bend, all the kids would used to come out and paint the guardrails a
Yeah,
couple weeks before the race season started, you know.
Yeah,
I just got them all
painted-
there hanging out.
I've painted Flamborough Speedway before. I've actually walked it and painted it, and I've also painted with Demi up at Sauble. I painted that track too. I walked around and painted that track.
I painted Sauble a few times when I was a kid.
yeah. I don't know what it is, but like to me, there's just something about like if I was to go, essentially, I would like I'd help paint, I'd help film, and put a whole YouTube video together for it. But to me, like that's something to. When I walked into Flamborough Speedway, I'm gonna be honest. If I get in trouble with Flamborough Speedway, I'm sorry in advance. But when I walked in there in 2022, the first race, and I saw marks from 2021, a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah, because it could be painted for sure.
Exactly.
Fresh year, fresh start.
That's what I like to see. That like if we can go in, paint everything, help everything, give everything a facelift for a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
How popular do you think that would be? That it could become a yearly thing, where you can reach out to local groups, or it's like, hey, we're doing this. Go to a high school. Are you kidding me? I'm sure an artist from a school might say, hey, we're doing this. Do you want to come help out?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they would, but
because next thing you know, you got some mural. I'm just kidding.
Start covering up the back of the grandstands like they already do. Start painting a mural there. Come on, let their ideas flow.
Actually, you're onto something there because there could be, because there's got the containers and stuff.
Yep.
That's not a bad idea either. Anything to spruce it up and make it more inviting for folks to come. I mean, we talked about Sunset Speedway. They're going to do the apparel.
Yes.
Kind of, right?
Oh, don't even get me started. That's been an idea that's been running through my mind for so many years now, and I'm glad to see Sunset Speedway come up with it to do it. I was in 2 years. I'm 2 years out from my plan to have a trailer to bring around a different tracks every year, to have the JoMo Media drivers have their apparel there, help out sell them at different tracks all across Ontario. That's been an idea for the past like 3 years now with JoMo Media.
Yeah. And I don't, and it's doable. It's feasible.
It is.
Because go to any dirt track. You go to our closet. Well, first you're gonna find 40 black hoodies and then 2 good dress shirts. That's all there is. But anyways, you pull out his hoodies. You start pulling out his hoodies, and we probably have 5 dirt track driver hoodies. Like, and
well, they're Dean from RPM Designs and that he's starting to do that.
Yeah,
there's all the quick stuff. He's starting to do driver shirts, stuff like that, right? And it's great for the fans. They can just go. Oh, Dan from Epic Racer, he's doing that as well.
Where you can buy it it off the website. Yep. Actually, Dan, if you're watching, I sent you an email and you never responded. Just saying.
I got to get back to an email from him too. So I'll at the bottom I'll tell you. You might want to get back to Jennifer Hatch.
Jenna Hatch is looking for you. Respond to her email.
Well, that's the thing is that's who we started with. Like that's how we got these hats. I got a JoMo Media hat hanging around. I have hoodies. I got t-shirts of JoMo Media True North Racing Podcast. But the thing is,
Salt of the Earth, 2 fantastic brothers that we have had more than our fair share of fun with.
Yes, I grew up with Dan and Bob.
Stories we cannot tell here.
Yeah.
And you guys grew up together. So
See, and I love Dan and Bob because they're doing such great things with Epic Raceware and everything like that. Like I just want to see more expanded to the drivers, because the thing, in my opinion and things that I'm seeing is that, you know, we got Ray Morneau Jr. at Delaware. He sells t-shirts almost every year.
Mhm.
But the thing is unless he's announcing it to them, it's like, hey, come on down after the pits, to the pits after the races, you could buy a t-shirt from me.
yeah,
It's not getting broadcasted over there. So there needs to be a spot on the grandstand side to sell driver apparel.
like we've
Because
talked about,
that's such a big thing.
right? We've talked about all the other tracks. So let's talk
There's
about
some-
Delaware. Delaware they have allowed some tents, right?
Yep.
But a lot of it is, well, it's either Delaware apparel or it is APC
I did
apparel.
see Delaware did have a few of the bunch of the APC drivers in their
So
shirts. and
all of
whatnot.
us count too. We have fans. Maybe.
That's
I don't know. 1, 2. Big Booty Judy does. We already
Well,
have
and-
5 t-shirts. We don't even have a t-shirt yet for Big Booty. And we have 5 sold. So as soon as Haley gets home, she's getting home about midnight tonight, Florida. I said, you got to get on, making a Big Booty t-shirt, because we've got 5 sold already, because she's got a life of her own, Big Booty does.
Hey, make 6 and 7, because I'll take 2
Yeah.
of them.
Awesome. They're gonna be good. I know exactly what I want, and it's gonna be classic, and it's gonna be good, and it's gonna bring a smile to people's faces, and Big Booty Judy is gonna be on. People will know who Big Booty Judy is. They might not know who Jennifer, but Big Booty Judy they'll know.
Don't you just love it when your car has more of a personality?
Yeah, she does.
I don't know about that.
I mean, again, it's one of those things. Like, look at the Dukes of Hazzard. The General Lee got fan mail,
That's right.
right? More than I'm about to call him Dan
Daisy.
Schneider.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, the guys who played Bo and
Bo
Luke
and
and
Duke.
Daisy.
Bo and Duke and Daisy.
John Schneider, that's his name.
Yeah, Bo and Duke and
Jesus.
Daisy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's going way back.
hey, I used to stay up late just to purposely watch that show
Yes.
because
That
they used to
and
play on CMT all the time. But now you can't find it anywhere. So now I need to find a box set and
Start
find a
watching.
DVD player.
That's right.
Um,
But anyway, I like all of your ideas. I think we have some good ideas. And again, we don't own a track. And we
That's
don't
the
run
thing,
it.
right?
But
There-
when I'm 30 years and Kenny's 31 years and you've been going since
15
Well,
years.
15 years now, like that's a lot of people walking through a gate expecting, knowing what it used to be and knowing what it is now. And yeah, there's a whole different world of, it's really hard to get young kids involved now, right? And I get that. That's very true.
It doesn't help when hockey used to be 1 or 2 nights a week. It's now 5 a week, and baseball
no.
throughout the summer, you're gone every other weekend, and for a tournament, it's so much different. Like I can see it. Like the parents are putting the kids through so much sports and athletics now.
Mhm.
There's and their free time is them going away in a camper.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
There's-
then bring a racetrack, right?
They need to bring them to a racetrack. A
like
lot of
I
these
read-
tracks offer free camping
Yeah, exactly. So bring it to a
or
racetrack.
low pricing.
That's right. And like I raised 50% of the time because I was a divorced parent. I raised 3 kids playing, not just going and playing a sport. My daughter played AAA. My other daughter played AA, and my son's been a AAA hockey player, still playing. It's his last year of junior hockey, and we're in second round of playoffs. We still raced cars and took, So yeah, it is what it is. But at the same time, I think it's the kids. Like the kids don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to do anything.
But they have cars.
Yeah,
Like
true.
that's the thing is there's like again the Disney movie Cars. Are you kidding me? I was 2006. I'm like 14, I think 13,
Mhm.
14, 15. I still love that movie.
Yeah.
I was way out of the demographic they thought that would be watching that movie. Like
For me,
I'll watch number 3 because of the historical value they added into
Yeah.
3.
yeah,
Like I'm happy with 3 the way it is.
yeah.
But the Cars 2006, 14 years whatever to 14 whatever years later it is, it's still a very popular movie.
Yeah, it is.
The whole series is, but you think it would get them out to
Yeah.
these tracks.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, and I don't know how we're going to get the younger generation into it. I mean, we obviously have our two kids in it.
Yep.
And that's 2 kids coming up. And like the Bone Stocks have a lot of 20 to 25-year-olds. So there's a lot of them there. And you can't really blame them because, you know, you got $100,000 super stock now, right? So they're not going super stock racing unless they've got parental, you know, kind of
parental backing, and
probably parental involvement that comes from racing, comes with sponsorships.
Oh yeah.
Let's be honest, right? But for any young kid to just be like, oh, like Haley and Zach could not afford to have legend cards if Kenny didn't have legend cards, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just, it's just too much money for somebody their age to do. Bone Stocks, yeah, you can kind of get in and
Even they're getting expensive.
But even they're getting, yeah, like we got a lot of money in Big Booty Jitty, right?
Oh,
like,
that's the thing is racing is no longer a you know, when I first started going to Flamborough, this is one thing I always say. Well, I remember going to Flamborough Speedway in 2007, and I can't remember who the announcer was, but the announcer was always saying, "Here comes the mini stocks," and he's like, "You know how these mini stocks look exactly like your on-street car? That's because they are. This is how easy it is to get in the division that you just got to strip it, put a cage in." I'm like, where have I heard? And then again, now I'm looking at it, they're doing the same thing to the pure stocks. I'm like, huh, where have I heard that before?
yeah, for
Like,
sure.
but we see that all the time. I think Rich Schwarzenberg posted the past 3 off seasons. Guys, this is where you're headed if you keep doing this. If you keep wanting this and this and this and this, you're gonna end up just like the mini stocks are.
Even the bone stocks nowadays, there's no $1,500 bone stock out there. There are 5 bone stocks.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because like some people want to be able to get into the sport for cheap, but not cheap per se, but cheap at least. And now they're gonna have to spend, you know, saving up for a year or 2 years instead of maybe 3-4 months.
Well, you know, we just bought a parts car for Big Booty Judy. It was $1,500 just for a parts car.
Exactly, right? It's
already been pillaged by other folks. For all the stuff we're not using.
Unfortunately, that's where we're at now, right? Is you know, there's some guys out there who can still build a car for $1,500, but they're going to turn around and sell that free to you for at least $3,000, $4,000 because of their time.
And rightfully so. I mean,
absolutely.
There is still some cars out there that are $1,500, but they're not, you know, they're not being super competitive, and that gets tiresome. That gets wearing when you don't think you have a chance of winning a race. Like, and here we go again. But back to Delaware, right? I don't understand why they run the bone stocks the way they run them. I mean, why do you want to start 42 cars in the feature?
Because it's exciting.
Well, it is exciting.
It would be exciting. I'd love to see 50.
It's a lot of carnage mostly, but it's exciting. But at the same time, you're only giving one person a chance at winning a checkered flag. Make it 2 races, at least have an A and a B. Now, at the beginning, they did, because I ran a B.
Changing it up a bunch last year.
They were doing this and that and the next thing, but like, just like I don't know.
It goes back to that whole thing of we've been talking about it for the past 3 years with the hobby club, is that we want to get to a car count where we do have at least 3 to 4 heats, so that way we have a slow heat, a little bit faster, than the fast heat. So it gives those guys who may not get a chance to go to victory lane on a feature, but they still get to go to victory lane because they want a heat.
Amen. Amen.
Right? Same thing with the LCQ.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, like, when I do my write-ups for the CVMs, because I'm usually at the track for them, I'm gonna be honest, I'd neglect a lot of the bottom half of the order unless that guy who started first falls to last place. And it has no fault of their own. It's just either that's where they run and there's nothing going on back there, or I don't know. It's so tough to write about the bottom half of a finishing order if the top half is so exciting.
Yeah.
But if you LCQ gives them that chance to talk about it.
Yeah. And I found a whole bunch of programs from like 93, 94, 95 up in the barn here from Varney Speedway. And like, I have a couple of heat wins in them and stuff like that. But that back then to win a heat was tough.
Yeah.
Because we had 28 street stops. Like you weren't winning a feature unless you were the best of the best there that night. Like, but you could maybe pick up a heat win if you started in the third or fourth heat, right? Because at least the young back then I was younger. At least you could pick up a heat win, and that was pretty big at that point. But same thing at Delaware though. Like you have zilch, zero chance of winning anything at Delaware, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, if I win something at Delaware this year, you watch out. It'll be like I won the Indy 500. There will be champagne.
I expect you to run up through the grandstands all the way up to the Rogers booth. And
I don't even care that they tell you when you win a heat race, you're not allowed to get out of your car. I'm coming out. You just know it. I'm coming. It's helmet off. I'm coming out. Throw me the checkered, right?
Oh yeah. But that's like
it's almost impossible to do.
Yeah. You know what? We need to see more of that. And that's I've been very critical of Flamboro's double feature because it does it. I'd rather see set your features by practice times.
Yeah.
Or set your heats by practice time. Sorry. So that way, again, some divisions at Flamboro's are a lot harder to split a field because then you got 4 or 5 cars maybe.
Yeah.
But like at a track like Delaware, it works. But you know what? Again, same thing at Oswego Speedway. They don't have the heat winners even stop on the front stretch.
They stop out back.
Yeah. Like they just pull right off the track and get a picture back there if they do, which again takes away from that accomplishment. Like
it takes away from the accomplishment, and it takes away the interaction with people in the stands. Now, having said that, if there's not many people in the stands, whatever. But at the same time, I feel like the more you get interaction with, like, autograph sections are hard to come by.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, because it takes up too much of the race night or whatever. But the fans love that stuff, like, right? Like,
absolutely. That's been another topic of mine that I've been wanting to see. Because I saw it at Varney one time, and I thought it was a great idea. Varney, they need to do it at every track. Is that once a month, pick a division, and have them stand out of their car.
Yep.
And do actual in-person driver intros for them.
Sauble used to do it for the late models all the time. We were always standing out.
It's perfect. Like that's we want to see the driver's face, so that way when we go back there, oh, that's Kenny McNicol, that's Jennifer Hatch. Let's go meet them. We don't want.
I will say, at Sauble Speedway, at Sauble Speedway last year, where we parked, like, so we always, because of our transport truck and the really big trailer, we always parked at the very end, closest to the parking as you came in, right?
Yep.
Having said that, everybody that came through, we were still not loaded yet or whatever. We literally on every race night had dozens of people in our cars. Dozens of people. Every single night that we were there, we had dozens of people from the stands in our cars. And did it take time away from, like, we have a 2.5 hour drive home? Like, did it take away from us getting on the road or getting locked in for the night? Yeah. But I remember what it was like as a small child being there. You remember what it was like. Like, Haley's car is super popular because of her paint scheme and stuff. People loved it. People love Big Booty Judy, and we picked up a couple wins, so they wanted to come and see her after we won a race, or whatever, right? And we had like so many people sitting in our cars at Sauble. It was great to see that people actually came in. You don't really see that at Flamborough.
You do only on the cornrows night.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, you're right though. 15 years ago, starting to help when being around David and them, saw it all the time. Can't tell you how many times people walked up. Oh my God, can I sit there? Absolutely. Come on, man. Like,
oh yeah,
let's get you in there.
At the Motorama, like, constantly people in and out of Big Booty Judy. and your car too.
Oh,
We had a
yeah.
lot of people in and out of your car too. So
But
That's
here's the thing: what does it create for the person who gets to sit in there?
interest. Maybe they'll come to the track.
Interest. It creates a memory. Are you kidding me? You're not going to tell me that kid's not going to school on Monday and said,
Yeah.
I went to a car show with my family and I got to sit in this car named Big Booty Judy.
Yeah, and actually,
Like-
on Big Booty's card, we have all of our social media. So I was like,
Yep.
make sure you tag me in the pictures, right? When you do them, like make sure you tag us on
Yep.
Facebook or Insta or whatever. So yeah, it was fun.
That's what I love seeing that, because I really hope, again, it's creating that buzz. It's trying to we got to work twice as hard to create that buzz, to bring in those new people. It's not up to the track to bring them in. It's up to us as well to bring them in.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
And-
for sure. And I actually had more like, I'm gonna say like 18 to 25-year-old ladies than I did small. I had a lot of small kids, but
Yeah.
all the young girls were like, "Oh my God, we love your car code." And I was like, "Would you like to sit in it?" And they're like, "Yeah, can I?" And they were getting in and out, and it was fun. We had a good time.
That is great to hear, because we need to see more of that. We don't want to see, we got showpieces. The race cars are all showpieces, but you also got to make memories for these kids, for these young adults.
Yeah.
Because those are the people we got to gear towards to continue with the sport, or we're all going back to these streets with these weird ass race cars to see who can run the best. Who can run in the best in a straight line. You're right, that would be bad, but we're kind of being forced that way, right?
Yeah, hopefully
With tracks closing.
years. Hopefully we have a good year this year, and all the tracks have a good year this year, and
I'm hoping so as well.
I think people are starting to come out more. Like, well, Motorama was a testament to that. Like, people come
Absolutely.
out. So hopefully we get a lot more people back out to the racetracks this year.
I talked to a guy at Motorama, and I had about a 10 to 15 minute conversation with the guy, and I may have created a new fan.
That's right.
I grabbed him a schedule. I started like, okay, so listen, anytime you see CVM, that's our division, that's these cars. You want to come out and see these cars. All right, so these are the best nights to come out on. Night I think you should come out on is September 9th. I didn't even look at the calendar because I know. I was like, you need to come out to Fan Appreciate. Why? Because that's the best night to come across. One, you get free corn. You like corn? Absolutely. Get out there, get free corn. You want to see these cars up close and personal? We got a great lineup. Look at this division. Look at all these classes. These are fantastic cars. And I was like, you get up close and personal just after they ran, not just sitting pretty in a car in a show like this. And he's like, oh my God, I got to come out to this.
Yeah, no, good job, right? Like, that's what it's all about. If we all can get one or two people to come out and try it, that's a whole bunch of people.
Bring someone who's never been to a racetrack, and you may create a race fan for life.
Or a racer, who knows?
Or a racer, absolutely.
They might actually get into it at some point, right?
Exactly. I've been trying for the last 15 years. Still hasn't happened, but that's why I do this. So I was tired of crewing. Sorry?
I said it'll happen someday.
I'm hoping it'll happen. I got a wedding to pay for next year, so that's kind of off the table for right now.
Well, we do too. Well, this year, we're getting married this year, so.
Oh wow, when's the special day for you guys?
December 6th in Mexico. We're taking Kenny back to the homeland. Just kidding.
Ours is April 6th of next year.
Oh, 6 is a good day.
Yep. And we laugh about it because a couple of our friends from racing are in our wedding party. And of course, it was either right after race season was over or just before race season started.
Yeah, ours is in the off season. I remember Cassie and Jordan Morris were getting married, and it ended up on a race day. And Kenny literally wrote on the reply card, "Who gets married on race day?" and sent it back to Cassie. So next thing you know, I must have not been the only person, because next thing you know, we got another invite with the date changed. But only Kenny would write on it, "Who gets married on race day?" and sent it back in the mail.
You know what? That's a proper response though.
Yeah.
If it's in the middle of race season, you guys know.
Yeah. Well, and but it just happened to land on a race night. He's like, "Oh, race night." He's like,
Well, that's fair enough. Let's jump into our fan question period here. As you guys saw earlier today, we put out there on social media that you guys were coming on, and we got ourselves a question. You guys ready to answer that?
Oh God, yes. Is it
All
anybody
right.
we knew?
I don't know, but you'll find out here in a second.
Okay.
It's William_Trillium from Instagram, and he goes, "What is the most fun car to drive?"
Legend car for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Legend cars. Yeah. Bam. Don't know who he is. Thanks for the question. We have no other fan base that would ask this
You know
question.
what? I need to reach out to him because it looks like he's an official at Grand Bend.
That's awesome.
What was his name?
His Instagram name is William_Trillium.
Don't know.
Don't know him, but we live close to there, and we will be there with Legend Cars if he wants to come meet us and check it out.
Yeah.
And thanks for the question. You're our only fan.
Yeah.
Like all of our kids
is,
are from Florida, so thank goodness they didn't ask any questions.
yeah, all he's got is MHS is in his bio, and there's nothing on there's no post, so that's about the only thing I can see.
Well, thank you very much for coming out today. That's awesome. We do have to thank our sponsors tonight before we go.
Absolutely. I was about to tell you guys that. I'm like, we're gonna start wrapping up the show here soon with you guys. So you started beating me to it. You guys have a couple minutes to thank everyone.
Last time we were on, we forgot to.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Now you gotta do it twice to make up for it.
Yeah. So anyways, we got our hero cards done with all of our sponsors on them, so we can't forget them this year. So we got Team Dan Russ Motorsports, K&K Towing, Epic Racewear, Robson Scrap Metal, RRC Race Engines. That's what's in our Legend cars. One's on its way home right now, actually.
Yeah.
Probably crossing the border
Kids
shortly.
are picking it up.
Wilds Printing, of course, who just did an amazing job on Big Booty Judy. JMB Recycling, MPH Designs, that Tails, Maverick Real Estate, which is my real estate company, and McNicol Welding, of course. And also Dean at RPM Designs. He was fantastic to work with. They did up Kenny's jacket for the championship night, Dean and Jackie. And then, of course, our newest sponsor, which is St. Mary's Ford.
That's awesome.
Nope. We do have new team shirts coming out.
Oh yes, we have new team shirts. Anybody wants a team shirt, they can get one. We have big booty t-shirts that we're gonna have to make up per request.
Like I said, if you guys got some t-shirts, let me know. I'll take a 4 and a 2XL.
Absolutely. I'll write that down because we are gonna do them up.
And then let me know how much I owe you, and I'll e-transfer you when it's available.
Yeah, absolutely. We're on them soon. So
we love having race shirts. I don't know what it is, but they're just, I like supporting racers because I feel like it gives it back a little bit.
Well, and it's a conversation piece as well, right? Like, you just bought a Parker t-shirt at the show, so he's wearing somebody else's Legend car t-shirt. But again, we like Parker. We want to support Parker. So what we buy t-shirts from those that we want to support too. One that I haven't bought that I do want to get a hold of is a Carson Nagy sweater. He has a beautiful new sweater out this year, and I definitely want to get a hold of one of those. So
yeah,
but
I need
again,
to reach out to him about one of those as well.
How many hoodies does one person need? That's the problem.
I mean, I wear 2. I have a green one I wear to the gym, and then I have a True North Racing podcast one that I've probably worn. I've owned it for 2 years now. Probably have worn it probably 300 days.
See, this is what it is. Well, we have a big selection. I have a ton of quick ones too, but they made some beautiful ones. I still tend to have to go for something that's aesthetically pleasing.
That's usually the case though.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, right now I'm rocking a Josh Berry one, and this is the throwback they did to Dale Jr.'s 2001 car.
Right.
And you know it. Hell, actually, I'm a fan of t-shirts, but the problem is I like wearing them too much.
Yeah.
So like I like stuff that doesn't wear out, and such as like diecast.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm a diecast fiend. I got two local guys. Well, not local. One's not local anymore, but I got a Gary Ellie one
Oh,
right
Gary's, yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And then Brandon Feeney made up a few in the off season and gave myself one.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah.
I have
So
friends. I like him. He's crazy bugger.
Feeney's awesome. He him and I gotta talk. I want to try figure out something with him because he's a character and a half. I've loved having him on the show.
Yeah, he's fun.
He needs his own show. And actually, funny. I love this. I love the stories that last year is that Brandon didn't know who I was.
Mm-hmm.
He thought I was someone else. He thought I was Johnny Morrison, the super stock driver at Sunset.
That's
So
awesome.
he's like, "Where's your car?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? My car's outside." Like,
the visitor parking.
yeah, I'm in visitor park. I'm like, why would it be here? He's like, well, for the race season. I'm like, I don't have a race car. And he's like, what? Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm thinking Johnny. I'm like, you're thinking Johnny Morrison from Sunset, aren't you? He's like, no. I'm like, no, I'm John Morrison.
That's awesome.
So now Johnny, I gotta get Johnny on here and Brandon to sort this whole thing out.
That'd be fun.
It would be a great episode, I think. But I'm gonna start this off here. I do appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate Jen for you reaching out to me to ask for you guys to come back on. Sure. It was obviously the last time we had you guys on was like 10 minutes to talk about Kenny's championship season, which by the way, once again, congratulations. I appreciate you guys for reaching out because the hardest thing for me is to sometimes figure out who I'm gonna bring on. And it's easy when people are like, hey, I would like to come on. It's like, okay, when do you want to come on? And I give out dates and stuff like that.
We're always kind of chatting back and forth or whatever. And it's like, yeah, if you have a time slot, we'd be more than happy to come on for sure.
It's the thing is, these are always fun times when, it makes my job easier for when racers reach out. It's like, hey, I want to come on. It's like, okay, here you go. Here's a date. Are you available this day? No. Okay. Does this date work?
And we made the first date work. Look at that.
Exactly. But I do appreciate you guys coming back on. I hope you guys had fun. Would love to have a whole episode with everyone on. If you guys are up for it, I'd love to do something like that next off season so we can talk about the 2023 season. Mm-hmm. We've done a couple. We've done one with BT Racing already. We're gonna do another one with Thorn Racing. So I feel like we need to do one with you guys. To talk about your season.
McNicol Motorsports. Unfortunately, our children are so busy. Like me and Kenny sit here and with the two dogs. That's it. Like Zach's always gone. Haley's always. Haley came to us and told us, "Hey, I'm going to Florida." And we're like, with who? And they're like, with Allie, which is my oldest. And then that was it. She was gone. And they're not even back yet. And they go, everybody's got to go to work in the morning. So, and then Zach, again, with his hockey thing. But so we've not yet done an interview with the two kids with us.
No.
That'd be fun.
So let's already start marking something off for next off season. Like
sure.
End of October. So that way that's probably roughly in the wind down area before other stuff ramps up.
You might want to do it before race season starts because they might not be friends after race season's over.
You know what? That's even better because it makes the content on my end a whole lot better.
I might not be friends with them. I got to race with them also.
The trash talking can be quite good in our kitchen.
Oh, that's I could just imagine how that's going to be throughout the summer. So that's why I want at the end of the season.
Sounds good.
Now I'm going to feel like you guys aren't going to be in one room. You're going to be in like 4 separate rooms.
We used to all race together when we were in 4 separate rooms.
Yeah, we'd be in 4 separate places. Well, Zach was even in Hawkesbury because he played in the CCHL. So he was in Hawkesbury. And so he'd have his race set up with him and we'd have ours here. And then because we have 2 full simulators. Yeah. And then we table and chairs with one. And so all 4 of us would race in a race at the same time. Oh, it was funny.
Hey, that's the best way to get some practice as well.
Yeah. This year we haven't really had them up and running.
No.
But...
Oh boy. Well, like I said, I appreciate you guys coming on. We're gonna schedule something for next off season. Good luck in 2023. I hope to hopefully run into you guys at a track and
I'm
watch
sure
you guys
we're at-
race.
We're
Yeah.
at Flamborough a couple times and Sauble a couple times.
We're at Sauble a few times, Flamborough a few times. We'll be
I'm
at Barn.
traveling a lot more this season, so I don't even know where. I gotta sit down in the next couple weeks and create my own schedule for the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Usually we aren't usually with the CVMs, like because if they have open wheels, they pick one or the other. They'll either
Yeah.
have Can-Ams or they'll have the
Well,
hobby
they're
cars or
Well,
they'll
they're on Frostfest. So.
yeah, we're there Frost Fest.
yeah, we're not there, Frostfest.
Oh well, there you go. But we'll see you at some point.
We'll see you guys at some point. But again, thank you guys for coming on.
You're welcome.
Hope you guys have yourselves a great night, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, sounds good.
All right, see you guys.
See you later.
Yeah.
All right, guys, then we're back after our great conversation with Jennifer Hatch and Kenny McNicol Jr. I'm gonna keep this end of the show pretty short and sweet. It's been a crazy long night here. First of all, I gotta say thank you to Jen Hatch and Jennifer Hatch and Kenny McNicol for joining us once again. That was probably the most fun I had in a conversation in a while. They definitely brought more than, I'm going to be honest, than I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but they brought it. I loved it. Loved the energy. Loved the ideas they were throwing out. Would love to see some of these ideas come to fruition at some of these tracks in Ontario, because to me, it's just something that we need. Other than that, guys, there's not really much I can really talk about, except for if you guys are looking for your own JoMo Media t-shirt, message us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, wherever you guys are following us. Check out jomedia.ca, where you guys can see all our drivers, our latest news, where you guys can find the podcast. What else we got there? Drivers podcast. If you guys are looking for promotions for 2023, hit us up. We got all the information right there. DM us as well. We can help you out in any way you guys need to this year. We are currently up to like 24-ish drivers. So if you guys are looking for promotions for the year, hit us up. We'd love to work with you. Looking for t-shirts, message us there as well. Hit our contact sheet. Check out our supporters, all the amazing supporters. Once again, this video is actually going to be brought to you by Vision 20 Studios. Once again, thank you to Brandon Jacobson for everything he does for the show. Much appreciated, man. If you're looking for video editing for your race videos, for your gaming, for anything, hit up Vision 20 Studios and see what they can do to help you make your videos even better. Other than that, guys, there's nothing else I got for you. I'm sorry that the conversation by myself has been pretty boring, but hopefully you guys enjoyed our conversation with McNicol Motorsports there, McNicol Racing. They definitely brought it. I loved it. It's good. I'm looking forward to an off-season episode with all of McNicol Motorsports, with everyone there. That's gonna be a fun conversation to have later on in the season, or later, not even season, but later on in the year. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Make sure you guys are listening to the True North Racing podcast each week. On Sundays, make sure you guys find out who. Actually, I've been announcing on like Fridays, which I think is a good thing. So check it back on Fridays to see who our guest will be the next week. I don't even know who it is right now, I'm going to be honest with you. But don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Keep up to date on everything going on with JoMo Media and Promotions. As the race season comes closer, there's going to be a lot more coming out. I'm John Morrison. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.
Flagged in the car zooming by. Hey, True North Racing. Let's go.